Hi folks, and welcome back to another installment of On the Ridge, Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center's online programming. Today we'll be focusing on the home behind me, the family that lived here at the time of the battle, one of the three residents here on Seminary Ridge, part of the Lutheran Seminary at the time of the battle. And their name still is on this building today, the Krauth family. So first we're going to talk about Charles Krauth. He was a professor here at the seminary at the time of the battle. Charles was born in 1797 in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. That's out near Philadelphia. From a young age, he's going to be interested in learning as well as medicine. Now he's going to spend many of those young years learning about medicine up until about the age of 18. He's going to run out of funding for his schooling. He's going to stay with an uncle of his looking for a loan so he can continue his schooling for medicine. And it's while he's with his uncle that he will attend a church and become interested in the Lutheran faith. Now it's at this time that he then pursues this theology background, and 4 years later he's going to actually be ordained by the Senate of Pennsylvania to teach and preach here in Pennsylvania. He's going to preach at a church over near Philadelphia, then to West Virginia, before coming here to Gettysburg in 1833. Now his bond here with the seminary will actually begin in 1826, shortly after the founding of the seminary here by Samuel Simon Smucker. He's actually going to be a board member of the seminary. But Krauth, comes to Gettysburg in 1832. He's going to become a teacher here at the seminary where he'll teach biblical and oriental literature here. He's then the next year in 1834 going to be unanimously elected to the president of Gettysburg College, at the time Penn's College, just north of the town from us. He'll hold this position up until 1850, when he'll then resign solely to focus on teaching young theologians here at the seminary. Now, as I said, Krauth and his family will occupy the home behind me on the first 3 days of July in 1863 during the Battle of Gettysburg. Now, Krauth, when they're occupying this home and the battle begins west of town, wounded men will begin making their way back here to Seminary Ridge and begin filling this home, as well as the main Lutheran Seminary building. Now, Krauth and his family will actually seek shelter in their basement of this home until around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, it's around 4 o'clock that the Union line here west of the town is beginning to break, and this is going to be their last opportunity to leave before being held in the hands of the Confederates behind the Confederate line. But around 4 o'clock, as they're making their way out the other side of this building, the front entrance of the building, Krauth says that there's a Confederate who is shot and killed and falls dead at their feet as they're making their escape. Now, Krauth says that when they return here on July 6th, after the battle, that there's a shallow grave on the other side of this building where that Confederate had fallen. When they return, they find many of their belongings have been ruined, ransacked, or used for medical purposes, their beds soiled with blood. Some of the items in the home are missing or broken. There's a porcelain pitcher, water pitcher, that has been thrown out into the yard, miraculously unbroken. But a silver tea set is missing. Now, this was a specific item of importance to the Krauth family. It was an heirloom given to the Krauths by Mrs. Krauth's parents on their wedding day. Now, this item for sure was gone with the Confederates and never thought to be seen again by the Krauths. So Charles is going to see an ad from the mayor of Waynesboro. That's a small town on the other side of the mountains here. And he's going to write looking for the owners of this tea set that he has in his possession. Now, this ad reads as such, quote, "An owner wanted, a silver-plated tea urn and pitcher taken by Colonel McIntosh of Buford's cavalry from a rebel prisoner and supposed to have been stolen from some citizens of Adams, Cumberland, Franklin, or York counties, to have been left in my possession to be reclaimed by the owner, who can have the same by proving property and paying cost of advertising. J.R. Welsh," end quote. Now, Welsh's daughter is also going to leave us an account in which she says she has in her possession the letter given by Krauth sent to Mayor Welsh. And she writes, quote, "During the retreat, an officer brought to my father, who was one more Burgess, 3 very large pieces of solid silverware, a water pitcher, and tea and coffee urns. They had been found in a wagon and was with his men under strict orders not to take any private property. He wanted, if possible, to have them returned to the owners. An advertisement in a Gettysburg paper was the means of their being claimed by the wife of one of the faculty of the Lutheran Theological Seminary at Gettysburg. I still have in my possession a letter written by the owner's husband saying that the pieces were part of a highly prized heirloom and that the injuries they had received on their rough ride over the mountain gave them a historic interest that made them even more valuable." Now, these items were in fact returned to the Krauth family and today are on display in our museum on the 4th floor. Even with these items being returned, Krauth still estimated that their losses after the battle were upwards of several $100s. But the Krauth family was still very thankful for the Union victory and to have some of these items returned unbroken. Now, Charles Krauth will serve out the remainder of his life here at the seminary up until 1867. He'll actually deliver his last speech here to a group of seniors getting ready to graduate. Oddly enough, the topic of this speech would be death and resurrection, just 10 days before his passing. Charles Krauth is buried today over in Evergreen Cemetery here in Gettysburg. Thank you folks for joining us for another installment of On the Ridge. My name's Kaleb Kusmierczyk, and I look forward to seeing you back on the Ridge.